Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we have something really cool to take a look at. This is a model that I was just actually, I don't even know if you could call it a model. It's more, of course, it's an ornament, but I think of it as a model, especially by who has released it. This is something that I was never able to get a hold of. I didn't get into collecting the line until after this was already long sold out, and I was always kind of bummed that I had missed it, and it's actually one of only a handful, I would say at this point, of this line that I was not ever able to acquire. This is the Dinosauria Sideshow Brachiosaurus Hatchling Ornament. Now, the Dinosauria Sideshow line, if you are not familiar with it, especially being a collector that has only gotten into collecting the last few years, it would not be surprising. It was a line of awesome dinosaur models, kind of statues, really high-end stuff that was produced by Sideshow quite a long time ago, and they were always released in limited edition numbers and often sold out fairly quickly. And they did have a pretty extensive line that they had released. Unfortunately, they stopped making them after the Gastonia, and they did not produce anything that I know of since then as far as the Dinosauria Sideshow line goes, which is a travesty because that line was fantastic. But this, again, was one of the few that I do not own. I also never was able to acquire the Tubuhora that they had released, the Rex versus Triceratops diorama, the Stegosaurus, and the Camarasaurus Allosaurus scene. I think there might have been, actually I don't have the Dilophosaurus and potentially one other either, but I do have quite a few of them. I think I have about 8 or 9, maybe even 10 Sideshow models, but again, there are definitely some that I missed out on. Stuff that was mostly released prior to me really collecting the line. I was able to acquire a few over the years, but this is one that has eluded me for a very long time until just recently it popped up on Mercari for like $30, and I was beyond stoked that it was on there, so I placed an order for it right away, and we now have it here to take a look at. So let's go ahead and get a closer look right now. So this ornament is probably the nicest ornament I have. I have some really cool Jurassic Park style ornaments, but this is just beyond words beautiful, as was most things that you had released by the Dinosauria Sideshow line. But what we have here is, again, a baby Brachiosaurus that just appears to be coming out of the egg, or potentially not even. The egg's just kind of broken open, and we can see what the Brachiosaurus looks like as it was laying inside the egg. The egg itself, if we take a look at that area, is really nicely done, sporting a super lifelike and realistic look, and also some really nice coloration has been added to it, making it genuinely look like a real egg, like it is really lifelike looking. You can also see some cracks, of course, where the Brachiosaurus was hatching out of, or the egg was potentially broken, because honestly, the Brachiosaurus doesn't look like it's making much of an effort to get out of this egg, so it almost makes me believe that the egg was cracked open and the Brachiosaurus was just kind of laying inside. But you can see, again, all of the cracks and stuff throughout. Of course, here's the area that you would hang your ornament from, so we, of course, have that right there, but the egg itself, again, even excluding the fact that it is an ornament technically, is an extremely nice and very high quality model. On the bottom, however, you can see again the Sideshow Dinosauria logo right there. I don't know exactly how limited this was or anything. This one doesn't have a limited edition number, and honestly, I never really looked too far into it because, like I had stated, it was sold out before I ever got into collecting this, so it wasn't something that I had really looked into, because I figured there was probably a pretty slim chance I'd get a hold of one. But now that I have one, I'm really excited about it. I'll have to take a look into that. But as far as the Brachiosaurus itself goes, you can see some fantastic detailing as well as some incredible paintwork on this figure. I love the tone of green that they've used for it. And I don't always like greens on sauropods, but man, does it look good on this one. But you can see some nice light coloration there around the eye. You can also see the eye is squinting as it's just beginning to open. The eye is open slightly. We can see that the eye is a yellow coloration and there is a black pupil in there. You can also see a lot of color variation just in general in the face of the Brachiosaurus. Like you can see tones of browns, greens, almost like some orangish, reddish type browns. There's some blacks. There's a lot going on coloration-wise here in the face of the dinosaur, which helps to really create an overall realistic appearance to the model. You can also see the ear back there, and a lot of really nice texturing to the skin, and it's all brought together very nicely with a dark wash, and the dark wash is pretty much perfectly applied so that every crack and crevice throughout the course of the skin texture of the dinosaur is really nicely highlighted thanks to that beautiful wash. And on top of everything, the entire dinosaur sports a gloss coat that looks so lifelike and realistic. Like, this looks exactly like what I would imagine a dinosaur would look like hatching from an egg with that wet look, and they have applied it perfectly. You can see the nostrils are sculpted out up here on the top of the head of the dinosaur, up on the snout, and you can also see that they're kind of highlighted with sort of like a pinkish brown type of a coloration right there. We have some very nice greens applied to the top of the head, as well as some nice black spots and stuff throughout, and it's all nicely applied with an airbrush, so it looks very lifelike, very realistic. And then over here you can still see that this eye over here is closed. The dinosaur is kind of leaning its head there on its leg, as it's of course bunched up inside of the egg. As you move down the back of the neck, you start to see some black stripes that kind of show up there on the back of the neck, and again the green transitions down into that orangish brown, and then down into like a yellow or like a yellowish green. And we have a lot of really nice creasing, especially because there's a nice bend in the neck here, so you can see how all of the creasing has been sculpted out very nicely there along the neck, and you can also see more of those black spots and stuff. As we look down here a little further, you can see the tail coming out here and kind of curving around, and you can actually see the tip of the tail, so that's the far end of our Brachiosaurus tail. You can also see part of what appears to be the stomach of the Brachiosaurus, and there's some really nice tones of light greens in there, and the texturing to the skin is really nicely done. Like, you could see a lot of really nice skin texture in the stomach region, some more of that black, that kind of stripes and spots in here and there, even some more of the orangish brown tones. As you move back here along the course of the Brachiosaurus, again, you can see the stomach region right there. This is the front leg. You can see the stomach region right here, and then we have the thigh and then the rear leg. As we move down the course of the leg, you can actually get a pretty good idea of the muscle definition and everything of the Brachiosaurus. There's also some more really nice tones of green back here. A lot of really nice blacks that kind of transition back and forth there throughout the course of the leg as you move down the entire leg. And again, more really nice skin texture. You also have some more of that light green in the stomach, which I did not really mention before. A little tiny bit of girth in the stomach as well. And you can even see the skin there of the stomach kind of scrunching up and bunching up because the Brachiosaurus is laying its head there on the stomach region. So really, really nice attention to detail there on the part of the Dinosauria Sideshow line. And then as you move over here, you can see some jumbled legs, some feet and stuff like that. You can even see the nails right there kind of leaning on the back of the neck of the Brachiosaurus, painted with a gray. Even the underside of the foot is really nicely sculpted and nicely painted, and all of the paintwork is so precise. Like, you can see right there where the foot is, like, it ends perfectly when it comes to the actual skin of the foot. And then we transition to the egg right there on the end, and the egg again is so nicely done. As far as like the edge here, you can see how the egg has cracked and everything as the dinosaur is hatching, and everything honestly looks so unbelievably beautiful and lifelike. Dinosauria Sideshow always does a great job, honestly. They always have done a great job in pretty much everything they've done, but this is absolutely beautiful looking Hatching Brachiosaurus. And man, am I psyched to now finally have this in my collection. Now, as far as a size goes, we're going to have Bumpy here kind of stand in and give us a hand to hold the ornament up because it doesn't like to stay upright. But for a height, you're looking at, I'd say probably around the 3¼ inch range, it looks like, roughly, or around 8 centimeters. And then if you go for like a width, you're looking at right around the same size, actually. So about 3¼ inch, or around the 8 centimeters, maybe 8½ centimeters, somewhere in that vicinity. It's a little tough to tell exactly, but somewhere around there. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon, as well as Bumpy, because Bumpy's right here anyway, to show us again the size of the ornament. Obviously, if you are familiar with the Dinosauria Sideshow line, you'll know that they normally are very large statues. This is easily the smallest Dinosauria Sideshow product that I have in my collection. I'm thinking it's probably the smallest overall from the line, and definitely, sports the exact same style of sculpt and paint that you're used to on the larger statues of the Dinosauria Sideshow line, but at a much smaller size, and honestly looks incredible for the size that it is. A remarkable piece. If you are able to get this and add it to your collection, I must say I highly recommend doing just that. And hopefully these guys here will help to show you that even at the smaller size, the detailing and paintwork is off the charts. So this Dinosauria Sideshow Brachiosaurus ornament is awesome, absolutely awesome. I have never received anything from the Dinosauria Sideshow line that I was anything less than over the moon excited about, and this follows right in that same trend because it is another beautiful model from the Sideshow line. This Brachiosaurus is extremely highly detailed and quite possibly my favorite when it comes to hatching dinosaurs. I have quite a few of them in my collection, but I think that this is far and away actually my favorite that I can think of offhand right now, unless there's something I'm just not remembering. But I do have, again, a lot of different dinosaurs hatching from eggs as far as models go, but none of them really can compete with the overall beauty that I see here on this ornament. The Brachiosaurus is extremely highly detailed, and on top of being extremely highly detailed, is so expertly painted. Like, the paintwork is super lifelike, really beautiful. I love the vibrant tones of color on the Brachiosaurus, and I also love how they've tied everything together as far as the paintwork goes with the really nice dark wash. The dark wash isn't overly dramatically applied, like it's not really thick. It's really nicely applied, picture perfect to bring out every ounce of detail on the Brachiosaurus in the absolute most realistic way possible. And everything also sports that really nice glossy look, so it has that genuine wet look like you would expect to see on a hatching animal like this. The egg itself is extremely highly detailed, pretty much just as highly detailed as the dinosaur itself, and also sports extremely nice paintwork, like really nice tones of color throughout the course of the egg, and everything honestly looks like a real living, breathing, hatching dinosaur right here before me. It is so well done. And the fact that this is just an ornament is really mind-blowing. It's so sad to know that the Dinosauria Sideshow line no longer exists. It's nothing that Sideshow is going to continue on doing, and they have not done so for a very long time, since actually before my channel was ever even created, I think. So I always keep my fingers crossed that maybe someday, somewhere, they'll bring it back, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case anytime soon. Regardless, again, if you can locate one of these, I highly recommend picking it up if you can find it for the right price. Being a Sideshow piece, it's long sold out and very expensive usually. So if you can find one for, like, the $30, $40 range, it's definitely a great pickup and something that I must say you should jump on if you can encounter it. So if you can find one, make sure you pick it up and like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.